I think we all dreamt about going to space when we were kids. But when the space shuttle program ended in 2011, I discovered a void in my life. That emptiness led to a newfound obsession with space. A few years later, I wound up bidding on a Russian spacesuit as a joke. When the box arrived at my doorstep, my friends asked, "What are you gonna do with a spacesuit?" The answer? What can't I do with a spacesuit? That's how Everyday Astronaut was born. Since then, the suit hasn't left my side. It's even gone around the world with me. From remote villages in Myanmar, rockets, and spaceships. To beautiful fields in Norway. I'm fighting a cow to get a picture right now.
Here I am on vacation in the beautiful Norway with my beautiful boyfriend.
I even proposed to my wife in the suit at Machu Picchu in Peru. These days I work with leaders in the space industry to create fun and inspirational content. I've even been invited to different NASA facilities across the country, all for the sake of sharing my excitement with the world.
Hey there, it's me, Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut. Now, I'm not sure if you're aware, but NASA is doing some incredible... This is church for us space nerds.
This is where Gene Kranz was sitting when people first met him.
This is with permission. I still don't know how. I love that I'm standing on something that says urine bags.
This thing's gonna fly like a cat in heat. Whatever that means. That dog's gonna have a sore throat by the end of the day, I'll tell you that. Especially once he tries to explain to his friends that he just saw an astronaut flying majestically through the sky for an hour.
This thing has officially become the bane of my existence.
Everyday Astronaut's mission is to bring space down to Earth for everyday people, to communicate science through humor and imagination, but most importantly, to spark your curiosity, to want to find your place in the cosmos. Join my adventures as I seek to find out why exploring space is important, inspiring, and quite frankly, really, really neat. Show your support by visiting patreon.com/everydayastronaut. Hi, it's me, Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut. You guys have asked for it. It's time to take these stupid bags. I just realized I only have 2 more left. We're that close to this whole thing being done. And for whatever stupid reason, I haven't finished it. So you asked for it, and it's been haunting me, to be honest. This has literally just been like sitting off on the side of the desk. For a while, it was sitting back there. But then everyone pointed it out that, Tim, you're an idiot. You haven't finished. So I decided today is the day. It's a lazy Sunday for me, so let's get right into this thing. How is everybody? Good evening to you guys. We're going to dive right into this, baby. Don't forget, me building Legos is actually one of those things that's surprisingly attention taking. So it might be hard for me to be able to answer all your questions, but I'm just going to try. I'm just going to start building, and I'll try to catch what I can from you guys. When did I start the set? I don't even want to say. I've only done 2 streams of it. I started it probably the day it came. I pre-ordered it like minute 1, got the set right away, and then it just sat around for way too long. So let's not talk about it. Let's not bring up those hard feelings of how stupid I am for letting it sit there for so long. But here we are. We're gonna do this. We're going to do this. Leon would prefer if I danced. Maybe I'll start a separate dancing live stream channel someday. For all of you that are very interested in my dance moves, my hot, spicy dance moves that I know you're all super into. But just in case there happens to be some people out there that don't want me to do dance moves, which I don't know how that would even be possible. We'll spare those people for now. Press Z. That's already coming back into the world. You guys, that was great though. I am very happy that that's now a thing. I'll gladly let that be a thing. That's a good community thing. For those of you unaware, yesterday I was working on a BFR rocket, which by the way I started over and built a new one already, and it kind of works better, and it's bigger and betterer than even yesterday's one that you guys saw. And yeah, I landed it perfect. Hey Eric, shout out, hi. I landed it perfectly, and then I think it was Corey said, hey, press Z. And for some reason, I have my keys binded separate, like differently than, that's probably way loud. I have my keys binded non stock, so I forgot that Z is full throttle, so it ended up just making my rocket do a ridiculous flip. Hello from Greece. Make a press Z shirt for the store. That's a pretty good idea. Maybe if that's actually a pretty good idea. I like that. Just press Z. So wait, that just goes in there, but it doesn't. What? I'm confused. I decided, thanks to, I believe it was John in my Discord channel. Let's see. Yeah, John Eric in Discord mentioned that, hey, maybe you should just pull up the PDF. It's making my life a lot easier, I'm not gonna lie. I can like zoom in a lot more, and I'm already a really big fan of that. Because, you know, Legos and stuff. Alright, for those little guys. No, 1, 2. Did I find a cheap place? Were people looking for a cheap place to get MOVA globes? I'm afraid you're gonna have a hard time. They're pretty well price capped. This is strange. Why did they make me do it like this? I'm sure there's some brilliant reason. Hold on. Oh my gosh, you guys are probably gonna hear my cat. Maybe. Can you hear that? Okay, anyway. That was Bella. She has a string that every now and then she pulls out and walks around the house. She's very fat. I just needed to throw that out there. She has a string, she'll put it in her mouth and then cry about it and then walk around the house crying, and then she just lays on it. And we found this string like randomly one day. It was like a shoestring or something. And of all the millions of toys that my wife has bought the cat, that's the only thing the cat has ever cared about. Ever. That and like one box. Because, you know, cats and stuff. Okay. I will show you the cat. Logging for the first time in 10 months. Awesome. Thank you, Zoe. That's awesome. And again, big thank you to my patrons. We've got a Discord channel open here. It's available to our patrons. Thank you, guys. I would love to show you the cat. And hello, Australia. Austria. Another shrimp on the bobby. I just watched that movie yesterday. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you're probably much too young. I will maybe bring that cat in here. She'll probably just end up walking in here in a second, and you'll see her, because notice that I am using the other lens that we have now for this Micro Studio 4/3 camera, which is a much wider angle lens than what I've been using in my shows lately. That way, we can see all of this action, you know? I thought that'd be a good idea. Hello from Duna. Shabadiah. Oh, I have to build 2 of these. Great, thanks, Lego. Let's see if I trust you again. So, what's everybody up to? Anybody got any cool space questions? I would love to answer some cool space questions. That would be a good use of my time, because I'm gonna have to like focus on one. Do I want to be a real astronaut? There's a decent question. I don't have any desire to be a real astronaut. Mostly because, you know, you got to do pretty darn good in school first and foremost to be an astronaut. And full disclosure, this gentleman named me did terrible in school. And, you know, sometimes you just got to take your own path in life, and mine was absolutely nothing to do with the academic world, unfortunately. And had I maybe really focused and done a good job in school and really pursued that, then maybe I'd consider, but I also don't really, I'm not like an explorer. The 18-year-old me would be upset in me saying that, but you know, being an astronaut is still insanely risky. I'll be the ultimate space tourist. I've said that a few times on my live streams, that Send me up there when it's just like super routine. You get on a cruise ship, a space cruise ship, and you watch a movie, and that's the end of your day, you know. I'll gladly take that. Am I doing something wrong here? What? Maybe not. Maybe I'm not. Just a funny angle is all. So yeah, that's why. Oh, thoughts on the BE4 Hotfire. So let me preface that by telling people what the BE4 is. The BE4 is Blue Origin, which is Jeff Bezos' rocket company. And for those of you that don't know who Jeff Bezos is, he owns this small company called Amazon.com. I believe he's actually technically the richest man in the world these days. He also has a space company, and believe it or not, some of you might not know this. What is it trying to make me do here, you cat patrol? Okay, I'm very confused and scared. But anyway, Jeff Bezos, Jeff Bezos actually started Blue Origin before SpaceX. So he's been actually at it longer than SpaceX and Elon Musk. That being said, they've had a very, 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 very different approach to rocketry and aerospace. They are slow and methodical. They're very secretive. They are not very public in what they do. Obviously, there's pros and cons for us that are space fans. It's a bit of a con just in the fact that we don't participate as much in their development as we would probably prefer to. But needless to say, they have been working. They have a suborbital vehicle named the New Shepard, which is really cool. And they also now are working on their orbital class vehicle, which is a heavy lift. They're going straight from a suborbital little baby, teeny tiny little guy into a major heavy lift vehicle. So they're skipping a few stages there. And in order to do that, they have to develop a methane engine, or they're developing a methane engine called the BE4. And the BE4 will be, I think, the biggest engine to fly since the F1 engine on the Saturn V. It's a huge, huge thing. Very powerful, methane powered. It's funny that two different companies are both chasing methane at the same time. Methane has its advantages for sure. Mostly that it burns really clean, so it doesn't leave any deposits in the engines, which is great for reusability. It's also really cheap and very easy to refine methane as well to make it. It's an easy, cheap fuel source compared to some other ones. Especially compared to RP1. It's a lot cheaper than RP1. But it's less dense, but it also has more performance, at least more efficiency. Hey there, Emile, how's it going? Alright, so sorry, BE4 uses LPG. I don't know what LPG is, and I'm pretty sure that the BE4 uses methane, and methane only. Unless... methane and of course liquid oxygen. So yeah, which is crazy because that's actually what the Vulcan is most likely going to be running on, is this methane as well, apparently. So depending on how far along they are in the development of the Vulcan rocket, ULA's Vulcan rocket, that's a really interesting thought because you need to get the sizes of your fuel tanks need to be vastly different between using hydrogen and RP1 and methane. They are very different densities, so you have to take that into consideration. What is it talking about? What? Oh, Wane. What? There we go. Never mind my distractions in life. Okay, I'm going to put this, and then I'm going to look at you guys and actually answer some questions. I feel like I've probably missed about everything. Let's see. Alley Cat, hey. In the Discord, Crocodile Dundee for the win. When is the next Falcon 9 watch? Launches October 30th. I better put that in the calendar, and I better get ready to stream it. I might be driving out to Colorado in that time. I don't know. We'll see. Sweet. Okay, cool. Now, in theory, you can make methane on Mars. Absolutely, you can make methane on Mars. Oh, LPG, liquid propane and butane. Thanks, guys. So yeah, so they of using many engines in a single booster like SpaceX's approach versus one large one. So let me answer a few of these questions. So did anybody else say anything about LPG, liquid, why they think they are doing liquid propane? Because I don't think they are. Yeah, Joanne said liquid LPG. And I'm not sure if anybody else had an update on that, but I'm pretty sure not. Anyway, I don't know if I don't think methane smells actually. I'm not positive about that, but I think like for instance, natural gas actually has no smell. They have to add an additive to it to make it actually smell, which is really weird. So that you can detect it, so you don't die if it's leaking in your house. How much would I like to pay? I would pay $100,000 after it's super normal, after it's like going all the time, and it's not much more different than getting on an airplane. Yeah, it'll be a while though. You got to think about it like the Titanic. You know, at one point crossing the Atlantic was super treacherous. You know, you had Columbus and all that stuff and all those early pioneers. And then later on you had giant ocean liners, and those were still, you know, like the Titanic, although quote-unquote unsinkable, we still had tragedies. We're just in those very, very, very early stages of spaceflight as well. So there's going to be some some learning curves and a lot of big, scary things happening, I think, for a while. And I don't want to be a part of any of that. Don't count me in on that. I don't want to die. Oh, that's very cool, Jessica. Awesome. Space Day, and it was pretty cool. When is the first Falcon Heavy launch? So, first off, Purdue, have you met Trevor Mallman yet? He is a boilerplate? Is that what you guys are called? A boiler brain? Boiler jet boiler. Boiler cat. I have no idea. Anyway, he is a spaceflight photographer. He's an awesome guy. He is a Purduean. Purdudester. Sure. That'll work. Natural gases are odorless. Okay, so I've been corrected about natural gas being odorless, but not methane per se. Oh no! Somebody messed this up, like some kind of full-blown idiot. Ah! Watch Tim unravel live on YouTube. What did I do wrong? Oh man, I am taking 1,000 steps back. 1 step forward, 10 steps back here, guys. Apparently I had one brick turned funny, and it's gonna ruin everything that's ever happened to anybody. Jeez. It's that guy. Bear with me for a second. I gotta quick fix this. This is vital. Am I doing that right? I don't know. Good enough. Good enough fixer-upper guy. That's what I always say. Now, where were we? These guys go on here. One second here, guys. And then you'll have my attention. Okay, back to this. On top of this, like this. And then we get to fix these. We go here and here. Aha, much better. Okay, I did it. Something like slingshot to slingshot rockets into space. The biggest reason we can't use just slingshots is that in order to get to orbital velocity, well, first off, the G-forces experience and something like that to slingshot, your slingshot would have to be something like 100 miles long in order to get up to orbital velocities within, not 100 miles, but like a 10-mile long slingshot. In order to provide a low enough acceleration that's survivable for, especially for humans, it'd have to be really long. But also, actually, it probably would have to be like 100 miles long if you wanted humans on board. Because you need to get up to 17,500 miles an hour. The other problem is from the ground, if you get up anywhere near those speeds, the heat is unbelievable, and it will absolutely destroy the vehicle because it's near sea level. So unless that slingshot is like 50 miles or, you know, whatever, 80 kilometers up or whatever, that ain't happening. There we go. So, oh yeah, that Jessica girl, by the way, way back 20 minutes ago, asked about the Falcon Heavy launch. It's most likely, from what I know, it still sounds like they are on schedule to at least do a static fire here. A static fire, sorry, I'm like messing everything up. I think they're going to be static firing it relatively soon. We're waiting for the pad to get turned around. The pad... The old launch pad Slick 40, that blew up last September, is still almost done being repaired. So we're kind of waiting on that. And then they have to do a few more. They've actually been working on the big pad 39A, which can support Falcon Heavy. They're working on that now to get it ready for Falcon Heavy. And that's going to be one of those things that it takes a second for them to get that all back up to snuff and ready to go. And then we'll see Falcon Heavy. But first we're going to see it static fire. So it might be a minute before it static fires. Yeah. So there you go. That's that question. Mars versus Moon. Mun. John Ellis, good idea. A vacuum tube very high up would be pretty sweet. I would love to see the physics on that. Like how... Yeah. So there's a saying in rocketry. To answer that question, Bolyik. Here's the biggest reason is that KISS, keep it simple, stupid. And that's an old engineering saying. You know, how many times has a rocket engine fired up or done something, and you know, they need to like abort the firing of the rocket engine or something. Something changes from the first second to the second second, and it's no longer good for launch, right? So, like, for instance, say all of a sudden you were to launch this giant rocket cannon thing, and it gets out of the vacuum tube, and it's 50 miles up in the air, kilometers or whatever you want to do, and you light it up, and all of a sudden you realize, oh crap, we have a problem with this. Well, now it's falling back to Earth, and it's going to explode and go boom boom. So... yeah, so there we go. I have sold one of the Saturn V Lego sets, and I'm keeping the other one in the box forever and ever. Amen. At least that's my plan. Maybe if I go poor, which just might happen. And then I will. Then I'll sell you the other one. They are more and more available now, though. Yeah, so keep that in mind. They're a lot easier to find these days. As a matter of fact, you can find them like I know at Kennedy Space Center has them. I bet they're available on on shelves and on the web store now. I think it's about $140 US. Venus versus Moon versus Mars. Hey, thanks Mind War Gamers. So 130. There we go. So let me answer the Mars versus Moon versus Venus. You know, my first answer is going to be the same thing I answer probably every time, or at least I'm going to probably coin it as this. Whichever one's first is right. I just want us to keep exploring. I want us to actually start putting humans in cool places and exploring and seeing with our own eyes really, really awesome things and learning more and more about our solar system and about the world we live in. That's going to be first and foremost. So whether it be any of these things, I'm just stoked. I don't have a strong personal preference. I mean, I would love for us to go back to the moon. I think the moon has one strong psychological effect on humans, and that's that it's close enough that we can actually see it and you know, talk to astronauts that are up on the moon. Imagine having an HD link with an astronaut sitting on the moon and the things that could happen there. There's some stronger emotional connection that nowadays we could point a nice camera, have people on the moon waving, and the Earth in the background. It would be, there's more of like a emotional connection there, in my opinion. Mars is so far away, it's hard for people to fathom what's actually going on. And so I think it is important to visit the moon. I don't know if it needs to be the moon first, but I think it's important to go back there, especially in today's day and age, and actually start beginning to have settlements on there and long-term camps. And I think that's very, very, very important. And that's part of our something that our generation needs to be pushing, or the generation after me, because yeah, we deserve it. You know, how much cool stuff have we done? As far as space exploration in my lifetime, almost really nothing. At least with human exploration, we've done a lot of cool probe work. That's important too. But there's always going to be something about that strong human connection. So yeah, so that's my thought on that. I hope that makes sense. Spicy space sausage as loud as I can. It probably won't be as loud as I can. That's probably about all the louder I'm going to scream spicy space sausage. Since I normally do that at it's 7 o'clock my time local is when I normally get into the spicy space sausage screaming festivals that I normally partake in. So we're gonna have to hold off on that for now. What is this talking about? What? Aha. There's a good one. Whoever designed this thing is unbelievable. I want to shake their hand. This is just insane. It's so intricate, complicated. I want to punch him in the mouth for being too smart. That's what you do when you're smart, right? How do you think conspiracy theorists would change their mind if we went back to the moon? So let me answer that quick. So there's a lot of psychology behind the way a conspiracy theorist's mind operates, and unfortunately, there's actually an actual psychological difference between people who are prone. They have a predisposition towards conspiracy theories. They're always going to move the goalposts, so they'll be like, well, it's just fake. I mean, people don't think the International Space Station is real, and they'll find, you know, they'll look at something and be like, see, that looks like a string, and it looks like they're tugging on it. Like, if there's literally millions of hours of video streaming from the International Space Station, of course you're going to find weird things that look unusual, or maybe don't look unusual and look familiar to Earth. People are going to find that no matter what. You know, so I don't know if, honestly, going back to the moon will change that. I don't know if it would change anyone's minds, because they're going to make up excuses. They're going to reject reality. And it's really hard to argue with someone that has that predisposition and that will default to that no matter what. I mean, what do you do when their reality doesn't line up with your own reality? When they've rejected facts and common sense on certain things in order to mold it to their, to their belief. You know, you can't operate by starting with a belief and then making your answers mold to that belief. That's not how things should operate. You can't be like, well, I know there's not a second floor on this building. You could take me up there, but I already know that there's not a second floor on this building. So I'm just gonna. I know that. My friends told me, and they have pictures showing that this building only has one floor. So, you know, you could take me up to whatever thing. It's just gonna be a room with a bunch of TVs, and it's not gonna be up anything. You're just gonna keep lowering the staircase, and they'll make up ridiculous excuses. So, yeah, that's my long rant since I'm building Legos and can't really do much else. Let's see. Moon to interplanetary missions will be much cheaper. No atmosphere. The Alley Cat in our Discord channel. That's a very interesting point. It makes sense if you're refining and if you have a moon base that actually has developing propellant on the moon. Yes, but it does not make sense to jump from Earth, land on the moon, and then take off from the moon again, because it takes more change in velocity to you know, slow down and land on the moon and all that stuff. So it's not free to land on the moon. But yes, if we are developing propellant on the moon, then that is perfectly valid. Thanks, Matt. How you doing? This is a micro, what's it called? Blackmagic Micro Cinema 4K with an 8mm, so 16mm equivalent lens. Yeah. And is that... I think I know a Matt Copeland. If you know me, let me know. If so, hello, friend. Alright, so I'm just going to finish up this third stage, which is the S4B, which always is confusing that it's 4. It has one engine, you have to call it a 4B, and it is the third stage. Confuses me. It only has one J1 engine. Pretty cool stuff. Let's see here. Can you buy me this and send it to me, please? Absolutely. That'd be great. I wish I could start. Guys, if I'm like super rich someday, I'm just gonna be sitting here like, sure, and just buy people cool space things. Yeah, you wanted a piece of space shuttle? Here you go. Actually, I am giving away pieces of space shuttle. We had our second, technically second, way back in the day when I first decided I'm gonna do a giveaway of space shuttle pieces. We gave one away to the person that made up like 9/10 of my Patreon support. But nowadays, it's a lot more evenly distributed. So we had another giveaway for a piece of Space Shuttle Discovery, which was pretty sweet. Got sent out to Spaceship Treehouse is his name on Instagram. Yeah, so that's fun. So I do kind of give stuff away. I do give away pieces of Space Shuttle. Yeah, so, and if you still want, we are still doing, I will be giving away, I have 3 more pieces back there. These little boxes right there are the 3 remaining pieces of Space Shuttle Discovery that I'm giving away to Patreon supporters. So, if you want a chance to win that, patreon.com/everydayastronaut. And what I did is we weighted it, so for every dollar someone contributes, that gives them one chance. It kind of puts their name in a virtual hat, and they get a chance. So say you give $10 a month, then you get 10 chances to win that. That's how we did it. And now you know. Ah! Where did I get those spinning globes? These are MOVA globes, M-O-V-A globes, and they are incredible. They run on solar power. They just continually spin. Show us, fat cat. Hey, Bella! She might come. Already plans of making space elevator on the moon, which is way, way more... Oh, that's cool, Mike. I'd never thought of a space elevator for the moon. That would be way easier than a space elevator on Earth. I have never heard of that, but I'm intrigued. Mark... Oh, hey, John. What happened? I am working on the Saturn V here, John, and I'm using your advice of using the PDF. It's making life a lot easier, mostly just so I don't have to mess around with that little book, which is amazing, and I don't want to ding it up. You're exactly right. For all the reasons you listed, you are right. Yeah, so I'm on almost the last little bit here. And then what else? What else did we... Oh, someone asked if I worked... I do this full-time job, yeah. WD. So I have been, somebody else asked about if I worked for a company or anything. No, I've never worked in any capacity for the aerospace industry other than shooting rocket launches at Kennedy Space Center in Vandenberg for spaceflightnow.com. And then also for myself now too. But I consider myself a full-time content creator. And what does that mean? It's mostly YouTube now. I had been doing Instagram very heavily. That was the bane of my existence for a few years as a professional photographer and as Everyday Astronaut. But now it's transitioned a lot more into the educational and outreach aspect. So I'm doing public speaking. I'm doing a lot of things that are helping people overcome that scared only rocket scientists can understand this stuff. That's kind of the whole point of Everyday Astronaut is if someone like me, just a normal, everyday person, can get really excited about this stuff, why can't you? You know, I think a lot of people get intimidated when they hear astronauts talk about it, or rocket scientists. You know, it's a scary. There's a big gap there between the layperson's understanding and then a rocket scientist, right? So I've kind of taken it upon myself to try to produce content that the average person can watch and learn from. So yeah, that's that. I should team up with EJ. I love EJ. We stay in touch. He's a great guy, Eric Johnson, on Twitch. I used to pop into his stream quite often. To be honest, I have not been on Twitch in about forever. All right, we're gonna put this third stage up on this baby. Oh yeah. Okay, we're getting a lot closer. This thing is so crazy big and so crazy heavy. Can't even tell you. Wow. I do have membership packages for Patreon. Yeah, you're exactly right. YouTube is not enough to make a living off of. That's why you know, my wife and I saved up a lot of money last year. I stopped shooting weddings knowing that I'm going to start making this a full-time gig. And then, hey, I'm going to rip this open quick. I saw this year as an investment into this world. So currently, yeah, still it's not really a living, but it's what I want to do, and sometimes you just got to make it happen until it happens. So that's what I'm doing, and yeah, full transparency, it's you're exactly right. There's very, very, very little money in YouTube until you get up to like having 200,000 subs and each video is getting 400,000 views. Then you're making a pretty decent living. Still, maybe like so far, you know, if I were to pay myself by the dollar amount, as a photographer, I was making $500 an hour shooting, and now shooting and editing and scripting and writing, I'm probably making on average about $5 to $10 an hour. So it's a little bit of a downgrade professionally, but at the same time, I see a lot of value, and I just have to pursue my passion. That's something that I've always said about photography and about other things. You just got to pursue what feels right and make it happen. And this is one of those things that I can't stop wanting to do. And so I'm trying to make it happen. And that's the story of that. Yeah. Hey, thanks, Landon. That means a lot. Thank you. My education. This is one of those awkward subjects that I talk about often because people ask me all the time. I am a prolific college dropout. And I ended up with a 2-year degree in nothing after about 5 years in and out of college. And I will have to say this, if you are considering going to college, please go to college. And please study hard and do well. I will tell you that starting your own business at 20 years old, 21 years old, and trying to make that into a lifestyle that was comfortable was very, very, very hard. And I learned a lot along the way. And it's not... People don't take you seriously until you're either going to put your time in school and then walk out with something that says, hey, look, I'm a valuable member of society. Or you're going to have to prove yourself in the real world, and that is very difficult sometimes. So, do well in school, especially if you want to get into engineering or rocket science or anything along those lines. You absolutely have to have a degree for that. So, please, for the love of the world, please study hard and make that happen. That's my biggest words of advice. Hey, thanks, Mark. Thank you. That means a lot. What should you do as a career? You're in the university now, complete fresher, and don't know what to think about your courses. Hey, Steph, that means a lot. Thank you. So, Jensen, I would say, honestly, treat college as a... This might be interesting advice. You're going to get some mixed advice here from a gentleman. If you can, take a little bit of time off and really find out what you absolutely love. and listen to that. And don't think that there's a career in everything. I don't care what it is. You know, video games is a perfect example. You know, if you told your mom, your parents, you know, 10 years ago that I'm going to be a video game designer, you know, that would have been, or 20 years ago, that would have been laughable, you know, like who does that? And nowadays that's one of the biggest industries. So if you love video games and that's all you care about, study making video games and make it happen. But definitely listen to yourself and listen to what you want to do. And if you're in school and you're going through the motions and you have no idea what you want to do, you can take some time off. Get a normal, just crappy job. Go travel around a little bit. Find out what you love in life. You know, watch too much YouTube and figure out what really, really, really pulls at you. And then go back to school and make it happen. You don't have to go in that order. So, yeah. Or pitch your startup to Peter Thiel, I don't remember how to say that name. Thanks, John. Take it easy. Also, hey, John, you are a patron. I'm going to make you a moderator. You don't have to do anything, but just if you want to. Yeah, I would say, hey, thanks for stopping in, Final Space Frontierist. But yeah, I would definitely say just listen to yourself and don't force yourself to do something like, well, you know, the lady at the at the admissions office said that I would make a very good tax auditor, or what, you know, like if you have no love for it and you want to enjoy work, then find out what you love to do. Or more importantly, maybe if this is more realistic, find out what you love to do and then get a job that has enough flexibility to allow you to do some of that in your free time. That either makes enough money, you know. So I like to say I always want to work as little as possible by making the most amount of money. And obviously I'm not doing that at all this year because I'm working way more than I have in a long time and making a fifth the money. But, you know, in the end goal, you want to be able to enjoy your quality of life and do what you love. And luckily for me, this new job is something that I absolutely love. So it's kind of like two birds with one stone for me. But some people, I have friends that, you know, have good enough paying jobs and it's flexible enough that they can go and pursue other things, you know. They can still pursue those things that they love, and it makes it worth it. They have enough time off and stuff like that too. Oh, I forgot. This is the capsule, isn't it? Kind of cheesy. Aww. Capsule makes me a little sad. Well, there's the yeah, there's the thingy guy. So, haha. Nerdy, I'm very proud of you. You can fly a plane. That's great. There we go. So, let's see how this baby joins up now. Oh, we still have a little bit more to do. Dang. Okay, long way like this. Oh yeah, here comes the vacuum engine on the service module. What? Does it really just stick out like that? That's pretty ugly. I'm sure there's a reason. How's it going, Senna? Do what you love is the best thing you can do. The only downside is that you're ashamed to ask money for it because you still see it as a hobby. That's true. As a photographer, it's very hard to get the, you know, to get the gusto to walk up to someone and be like, hey, you should pay me for what I'm doing, you know, without developing a portfolio. And that's what you have to do for the first couple years. When I was working trying to become a photographer, you gotta pay your dues, and you do a lot of shooting for free. And that's just simply how it goes. And it kind of sucks, but it's humbling. You learn a lot. There's a reason you're not getting paid. I don't care how great you think you are at photography. You learn a lot by forcing yourself to shoot a whole bunch. You're going to learn lessons. You're going to make mistakes. And then you slowly get people to pay you for it. And as soon as you value yourself and your own time enough to be able to charge money for said services, it just keeps going, you know? Yeah. I should do an EP on lunar space elevator and the recent talks about moon from NASA and SpaceX. That'd be pretty sweet. I think an episode about that could be pretty darn cool. Oh, baby. Ha ha ha. Oh, that's sweet. And now we attach it. Oh my gosh, this thing is massive. Oh my gosh. No, I broke a fin. Don't tell anyone. I shouldn't have told you guys. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Look at this thing. This is crazy. I'm gonna stand up and you'll get a sense of how freaking tall this thing is. Sweatpants Sunday, by the way, everybody. Sweatpants Sunday. Welcome. But look at this thing. It's up to my hip. It's above my hip, and I'm almost 6 foot tall. That's crazy. We did it! We did it! Barefoot. Always barefoot. I never knew he didn't have shoes on. Well, now you know. When it comes winter, you sure may see me wear shoes. Is it scaled compared to the Lego Man? It's scaled compared to these little teeny Lego men that they provide. This is scaled. Look at this thing. So here is you can't even see the jeez. Here's the little scale Lego person, and there's the engine, the F1 engine. Look at how freaking huge that is. They had to make special little tiny guys for scale. I don't know if you can even see that. But here's the little tiny astronaut. Isn't that crazy? Ah! Just Mark asks, any crucial Lego pieces left over? We still have a little bit more to build because there's actually a separate command module in Lunar Lander. Or maybe it's just a Lunar Lander. And a command module. So hopefully after we put those on, hopefully there are no... They give you a lot of spare parts in this kit, which is really nice. So you don't go panicking. Let's see. Everyday Astronaut and PBS Space Time are my two favorite space channels on YouTube. Hey, that's great, Dave. I actually have never watched PBS's Space Time. I didn't know they had that. Now you got me interested, and I shall do that. Oops, wrong thing. Build a Lego moon. Who made my logo? It's a local designer here. Her name is Sarah Fitzgerald, and she is amazing. Her stuff is called Quirk Creative, and I love her work. PBS Space Time is pretty good. All right, well, you guys talked me into it. Ah! Alright, I'm going to stick all of these guys. Hey, a quick little word of you should do this. There's a video, I might just re-upload it soon because it has like only 1,000 views on my channel. And it's one of my favorite things I've ever produced. The song in the background of this is the song that I wrote for the thing, but it's called Myanmar Astronaut. And I went to Myanmar with a non-profit to produce content. Storytelling content, basically. It was a really cool idea for a concept. And what it was basically is like you go to these cool places where people are already donating money and you tell the story of the impact that those donations are having. So we raised money to send to this orphanage in Myanmar. I ended up staying there for about 2 weeks, hanging out with the kids and playing and making a little video. And so I made a normal video and it's a blog post and all this stuff. And then after that, I ended up cutting, and in the middle of being there, I got this idea to shoot this like Myanmar astronaut video with one of the kids there. And it still kind of makes me a little teary personally, just because I have a lot more personal investment in it. But if you have young girls, especially, the star of it was a girl, show them this video. It's only 3 minutes long. There's no words. It's just music. But it's a pretty cute little story, if I must say so myself. And it should be pretty inspirational for young kids. So show them that. Also watch it. Let me know what you think. Like I said, I might just repost it. It's like one of the first things I put on this channel before I really had any other content ready. Yes, this is Lego. Quirk Creative has a cups of coffee consumed counter on their official website. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Four of these things. With these things. Oh. With these things. And then these things. Oh, this is gonna be so cute. Isn't it weird that we can all be watching the same thing from different points on Earth? And then we can be hanging out watching Legos together. I love it. The internet, so crazy. It's too bad it's being used for a lot of misinformation. Not obviously the internet's fault, but it just makes me sad how society has decided to use the internet. Neil block strong and block alternatively on the moon. Oh, Dave, good point. Maybe we got some people hanging out on the ISS. Alright, then I think we do something cool with this. Ta-da! This, followed by, this. Legos uniting the world, as they always have. I was in, and when you're in the Copenhagen airport, there's just like Lego everything, and it's so fantastic because obviously Legos come from Denmark, and it makes me very, very happy. The Copenhagen airport is one of my favorite places on Earth for some reason. It's like the nicest airport, and it's super like easy to get around, which is not usual for a international airport. Or easy to get in and out of. Alright. Oh no, speaking of crucial... Okay, good. I thought I was gonna have a missing piece. What time zone do they use on the ISS? No, they actually use Central, actually. Central United States, I believe. Because that's what time... or wait, do they use GMT or do they... I know that Mission Control and the International Space Station use the same time zone. I don't remember, actually. This... Let's see... Can you maybe make rules for the country or continents on the Discord? Maybe. I don't quite know what that means. It's not a bad idea. I just don't quite have an idea of what you're talking about. Someone else asked where did I get the shirt. This is from Target, which is a store in the United States. I get this is one of the only shirts that I know where I get, because normally I'll just end up randomly buying shirts at like 2 a.m. Like, oh, cool, and then like I'll forget where it came from. And I can't even give you the advice on how to get it yourself, because I'm a jerk. Alright. This, and then this, and then this. You're right, I actually have 3 old Lego space shuttles, and I worked on trying to rebuild them, but I have one of those classic, like, giant pile of Legos that makes no sense, and good luck trying to find anything in your life. What is that piece? I think you're making stuff up now, Lego. I'm gonna stop trusting you. What are you talking about? What? That's not a thing. I don't have that. You don't have that. Oh. Apparently I just had to look away for 5 seconds. Ooh, it's a custom one. Cool. It's got all the stuff. Yeah, Mike, put that in the general. I would love to know what you're talking about. Who do I think will be the first to land on Mars? SpaceX or NASA? That's going to be one of the topics that we talk about in the video we're going to be working on here this week. Or starting to work on. My opinion on that is that it will absolutely be a collaborative mission. There's no way, in my opinion, that SpaceX they won't go alone. They will have a lot of assistance with NASA. So it might be like SpaceX with NASA, you know. Yeah, that's what I think is gonna happen. Ooh, then there's a little stand for these guys. Wow. Yeah, it'll be people together. Multiple people helping. But I do want to think it'd be on a SpaceX BFR at this growth rate, this rate. Hey, thank you, Nova's on. Thank you very much. Yeah, the that feature that happened on the trending page of YouTube sure helped. Although, you know what I found out, guys? Maybe I shouldn't say this on YouTube, but I found out there's a lot of bots on YouTube because all of a sudden the day that I had that feature, I got a bunch of a big spike in followers, obviously, followed by 900 unfollowers since then, every day. So I just had these giant spikes, and like 8,000 are banned users now. So somehow the bots found me, and now there's just like this follow unfollow cycle or something stupid that makes me really annoyed. Yeah. So now I know. I assume there's probably bots everywhere on the internet, but yeah, that still just really annoyed me. You can put the lantern inside the rocket. That's sweet, Daniel. I did not know that. How's the recent YouTube ad block AI been for me? I don't think I really know exactly what you're talking about. As in, like, YouTube has made a better way to control ad blocking? Because if so, I didn't know about that. And I haven't personally noticed much, but I would love to know more about that. There we go. Oh, we're almost done, guys. These have to be custom, these little chiclets that I want to eat really bad. Don't eat them, don't eat them, don't eat them. Sweet. A raft even. This is amazing. They went way too far. The fact that there's 1,969 pieces blows my mind. Let's see. I'm trying to keep up with you guys. I did notice that same day as the YouTube trending page, I got a whole bunch of bots that were just comments that would say the name of the title of the video. Like, I don't even get what those bots are doing. What's their prerogative? Like, what are they getting out of that? Been to any drone races? I have not been to a drone race yet. You went and you placed second. That is awesome. Congratulations. I have a good friend that is pretty fantastic at racing drones, at drone racing, or at least flying aerobatically. I guess I don't know if he's actually ever raced. It is super, super cool. Very on board for that. Look at, we got splashdown command module now. We have lunar lander on the moon. The lunar excursion module, the LEM, with the ascent module separate. Very cool. Flame even coming out of it, even though you won't be able to see it really. That's awesome. Free gift bots. I haven't seen those too much. Hampus, did my photography business do well? Yeah. I was traveling around the world, that was always my dream with photography, was to see the world. I would go on pretty big international trips about once a year. I shot 2 weddings in Ethiopia. I did pretty much everything I wanted to do in photography, which feels really good. And I was still shooting a lot of weddings to really be able to pay for the fun stuff. And to be honest, the weddings just kind of became too templated for me. They felt, you know, less creative. There was not room for creativity in the work as a wedding photographer. And I started the Everyday Astronaut project prime in the middle of being a wedding photographer. And it just took me away from that, really. I guess is the short version of the story. But yeah, it was very good business, and some people thought I was absolutely crazy for stepping away from it. You know, financially it was a lot better than this. But yeah, I still think it's going to be worth it, and as soon as I can tell you guys more about what all is going on in my life, I will. And I think there's going to be some developments that make it worth the trade for sure. Over the top, and has been affecting lots of the YouTube community. Casey Neistat, who posted about it. Interesting. Yeah, I actually just recently watched a video. Casey was talking about kind of some of the adpocalypse type of stuff, but yeah, I didn't know if there was an ad blocking nightmare as well. To be honest, I haven't been around long enough to really know what to expect, I guess, with like income and revenue and all that stuff on YouTube. So to me, I'm just kind of maybe a little bit, I don't know, sure, as far as how much money I'm supposed to be making. Like, I don't have expectations really, if that makes sense. Whereas opposed to Casey's probably been doing it for a while, so he sees, or I know he's been doing it for a while, so he sees changes and would be very sensitive to them. And for me, I'm still in that total trial stage of life where I don't have any idea. I don't really have a metric to compare against month to month and stuff like that, because it's all so new to me. So maybe I do have some things that I should be upset about, but I am too naive to know about it. Penguin, hi, I'll say that now, but I don't do shoutouts mid-video, mid-produced videos. I want to say, like, I've thought about, you know, maybe in a certain level of Patreon support, we'll put a screen up for those Patreon supporters that are at a certain tier. I might even add that to my, a thank you section for a specific subset of patrons. That might be coming. And I might actually start doing that. That's probably a good idea to get up to that next tier as well. So, yeah. So I can absolutely give you a shout out. Now you know how. Patreon. Yeah, I think YouTube's going to be fairly happy. I close caption all my videos, so they know literally every word that's going in my video. So they know how family friendly it is, how PG, or even more so than that, G-rated my video content is. So hopefully YouTube appreciates that and finds it something that they can use across their entire platform. Okay, now we can lay this baby down. Alright, so it's going to go like this. Okay. Patreon, I don't know, or Discord, I don't know what you guys are talking about. The contest. Mark Polanski gave a talk at Purdue. I'm not familiar with any of that, but we can talk about that later too. How does this thing do this? I'm scared to set it down. Maybe it just sets down, and there's not like a specific place for it. And yeah, baby. I'm thinking I might put this guy back here. I think it deserves to be back here. Get out of the way, stupid Sony. You're getting moved. Alright, let's do this. I have played Simple Rockets. Maybe it's time for that little lunar lander to go. That thing's pretty junky. It's falling apart like crazy. As you can tell, as soon as I pick it up, you'll see a bunch of spare pieces. I'll find a place for that. But I think this is cool butt shot me. Nothing better than a good old YouTube butt shot. Ha! That's great. I hope it just doesn't cover up those globes too much because I do love those things. Oh, that's so fantastic. That makes me very, very happy. Ta-da! Wait, there wouldn't be two guys there. That doesn't make any sense, Tim. Sweet! Well, I think I did it. If YouTube robots decide one of the videos should be demonetized, you've heard auto-demonetizing all videos without checking anything first. That is very silly. They do need to be careful about that, because, yeah, they will definitely make a lot of people very angry. Yeah, you're right. I did see that, actually, where Casey Neistat was very upset that he just randomly had a video of his demonetized, and he had no one to complain about it. There we go, guys. I have also played Simple Planes. I am great, the innovative Allosaur. Wow. So yeah, we did it, guys. Look at that, the internet. We did it. That makes me very happy. One thing checked off now that wasn't done. You're new here there, Zizo TV. Howdy. Yeah, you can absolutely see my cat. Let me go find her. Come here, Kiki Jones. Okay. Guys, she's eating. I like that my stream is just an empty chair. Oh. So yeah, sorry, she's eating. She'll be done in a minute. Can't bother a cat while she's eating. What makes vacuum rocket engines, except for the nozzle? Did you forget the word big? They are larger because they basically direct the flow of exhaust in the direction, or opposite the direction of travel. So what happens, how do I explain this? When you are on Earth, there's 14.7 psi worth of air pressure if you're at sea level. So right now, if you're near sea level like I am, I'm near-ish sea level, I'm experiencing something like 14.5 psi of air, right? And the air is pushing against the exhaust, the hot gas coming out of the engine. Now the problem is, if the engine bell, you want all that exhaust to go down towards the ground, obviously. Oh, that was the kitty coming. And the outer pressure pushes in against that hot gas coming out, right? So you ideally want all of the exhaust gas to go only in the direction of travel. You don't want it to spew out over here. You don't want it to spew out over there. You want it to go straight down. And the longer the nozzle, the more directed it can be. The problem is, the bigger the nozzle, if you're at sea level, it can lead to combustion instability, where the outer pressure pushes in on the gas so much that it starts to create these big ripples, and it will destroy the engine. So out in the vacuum of space, though, where there is no air to push against it, they make these the engine bells much longer. Since there is no air pushing against it, they want that to be as big and long as possible, so they can direct as much of the exhaust gas anti-direction of travel. And yeah, that's my story on that. I don't know if it was all correct, but can the aerospace engine work in space? Yes, and it actually does a very good job in space, and that's because all that exhaust gas is actually pointed in at each other, compressing itself into a nice direct stream. So it continually pushes against itself, which is very, very smart. Jensen O. James, this is I was a former professional photographer, and now I am a content creator and a science communicator, and spaceflight advocate. Am I a NASA fan? Of course. It'd be pretty silly to wear a NASA shirt and not be a fan of NASA. Oh, no way. That's awesome, Colin. I'm really glad that worked out. That's very cool. So yeah, so there you go. That's the story on expansion engines and expansion ratios on exhaust nozzles. So basically you want the engine nozzle to be about as wide as you can and as big as you can on at launch. Because as soon as it's off the launch pad, the air gets thinner and thinner and thinner, and that engine actually gets could be more and more efficient. It doesn't necessarily get less efficient. It still gains efficiency, but it'd be more efficient with a larger expanded nozzle. So that's a big reason why there's staging, why a single-stage orbit vehicle isn't as valid as a multi-stage vehicle, is because you can start fresh with a new rocket that has a giant vacuum-optimized engine once you get out into the vacuum of space. So the nozzle is really only the main difference. That's correct. Yeah, which is cool. Of course I've heard of the EM drive, and if so, what is it? Oh, there's a kitty. Here, I'll show you guys the kitty cat. Hi, Kiki. Wow, look how fat this kitty is. This is Bella, and she is very large, and she's probably going to want to play with Legos. So I'll let her do that. Bella, you don't want to play with the Legos? Look it. Meow, 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 meow. This is going very poorly. Well, now that you know who Bella is, I mostly just call her Kiki Jones. Kiki Jones. Bella, I've never called her Bella, but there she is. She looks like she's wearing sweatpants too, so that's Sunday. It is a raccoon, Ivan. That's what we call it all the time, as a raccoon. So yeah, let's see, EM drive. So let me talk about the EM drive. Here's the deal. A lot of different people are studying it, and a lot of people are seeing the same results. One of the biggest theories is that it's acting against something that we are not very familiar with, like photon entanglement or some weird, crazy, weird loopholes in string theory or something. That it's exploiting something that we don't have an understanding of. Kind of like the first people that. Trying to think of another example like that. Even like electricity. When we first figured out electricity, we're like, we didn't have a strong grasp on what was happening. We didn't understand the electrons were jumping from atom to atom. Same thing might be happening with the EM drive. There might be something that we don't know why and how it's happening. But what the rule of physics that it's violating is that it's not expending anything. It's not expelling anything. There's nothing being pushed out of the vehicle. So say with like an ion drive or a normal rocket engine, there's always something that it expels, a propellant that leaves the craft, and that's actually what makes it move forward, is you're shooting very small mass particles very quickly, and a lot of them in one direction, and that pushes the object in the opposite direction. For each action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So if you just spin a bunch of stuff inside a container, like the EM drive, and all the electricity just kind of swirls around and never leaves, the mass of the vehicle stays the same, there's no ejection of mass, it shouldn't move, period. But they are seeing a small amount of, they're seeing a very small amount of thrust produced, so it's very interesting. And if they take it up to space and it still does that, which a lot of people would like to do, I think, then yeah, that will be really, really, really cool. I have seen some of Thunderfoot's videos. Yeah, so I think that guy has he already has a narrative and a provocative to every video he produces where he's just going to be naysaying. He had so many things wrong, though, in some of the videos I've watched. Like him making fun of the Hyperloop as it is right now. He continually forgets that this is literally a crappy tube welded together by spare-time SpaceX employees. And he's like, look how small it is. It can't even fit a person. Like, all this stuff. Like, this is literally just the basis. Elon's only providing a small basis to test and to get people inspired, to spur new competition, to spur a new company. Yeah, man, he makes me mad because I feel like he doesn't even provide enough context for himself to know how to base his opinion. That's, yeah, what I feel like. Yes, this hat is for sale. everydayastronaut.com/shop. You can find, I have a lot of merch actually. I have hats, prints, because I actually have a lot of prints like from rocket launches. Like that is from, oh, let me do better at this. There we go. This one is from SpaceX CRS-3 back in 2014. I have a lot of other pictures from my Instagram account. If you guys aren't following me on Instagram, that is where it all started. Instagram, you'll find it, Everyday Astronaut. I sell all those pictures as well. They make good gifts for the holiday season. I have t-shirts, hats, mugs, like this. Lots of other fun stuff. So yeah, everydayastronaut.com, you'll find it. Am I pro Dream Chaser? I'm pro everything. I think Dream Chaser is competitive enough that I'm not pro waste. I don't like when projects get super overrun and they're way too expensive and need to be canceled. But at the same time, Dream Chaser is competitive. For those of you who don't know what Dream Chaser is, it's a small mini space shuttle-like vehicle. It's basically if the space shuttle was only meant to transport people, and instead of mounting to the side of a rocket like the space shuttle does, it mounts on top inside of a fairing. But I don't think it's going to launch inside a fairing with humans on board. But they secured a contract to be able to resupply the International Space Station. This is made by Sierra Nevada, by the way, who's a long time, an old school aerospace company. So it's really cool. It looks really cool. I'm a big fan of it. Yeah, that's the story on that, on Sierra Nevada Dream Chaser. I think it's very cool. I just am pro anything. I want to see stuff, more stuff launching. I want to see people up in space launching from the United States. There we go. Yes, that's exactly the right quote, Max. Elon wants to go to Mars. He wants to die on Mars. He's just not on impact. There you go. Lifting body that's completely reusable. I like that. NASA HL20 design is, yes, the old lifting body, I think is what John's talking about. I actually didn't know the name of it, but yeah. That was very cool. Dream Chaser did, before the first, they were trying to get the first resupply contract, and they had a landing gear malfunction. It's so funny, they still showed the video of it like coming in for landing, and it was missing a landing gear, and then they just like cut, and they're like, Dream Chaser. It's like, you should have just like relaunched, A, just like done another glide test, and or B, just don't show us anything, because that was quite obvious that it failed. So is there a body that coordinates the location of all the stuff that puts into orbit? Clear zone for the launch site. Yes, we have tracking stations all around the entire globe that track most objects over a certain distance, a certain size. So, yeah. Yeah, which is pretty exciting. So, a lot of SSTO designs over-optimize the air part, which is less than a quarter of the flight. Yeah, much less than a quarter of the flight, actually, because say it takes 8 minutes to get to orbit, you're out of most of the atmosphere in the first like minute. So yeah. What happened to the space trailer project from Paul? Paul, very good question. So when I very first started doing YouTube and Twitch, I had a deal arranged with a company. They were going to give me a trailer, at, like a pull-behind trailer at wholesale cost. And I pursued that for a little while. And at the time, I was working on also doing a film where we would take that trailer and kind of go across the United States. And it just come to find out, it would have been way too much, especially for this year where we're kind of running on fumes financially. There was no way I was going to be able to purchase a trailer, deck it out, make a film, and make it all worth the investment. It just financially came down to a not smart idea. And I'm not trying to totally bankrupt myself pursuing everyday astronaut isms. So yeah. Saw my picture at Neuschwanstein Castle. You went there this past year. You got a picture on the bridge. Awesome. Fellow tourists. How long did it take for you to get a vantage point? I climbed up another. This is a fun story. I climbed up about another almost hour, a good ways up, So I took a couple different pictures. I took one at the bridge, which, yes, was totally packed. Then I only went up probably 10 minutes up. Found this cool little view. It was very close to the bridge, actually. You could still see the bridge. And then I decided to hike with this kid from Australia up very, very, very high. And we get up to the point where we're like looking, there's a huge cliff, like 1,000 foot or 300 meter or something, I don't know, cliff, right? And we're looking down. I'm taking pictures. At the time I was really stupid. I hiked all the way up this. I had a rental car. When I go to Europe, I always do rental cars. And I had a rental car where I normally would lock like my laptop and my backup hard drive and all the extra things you don't need when you're hiking. But instead, I was nervous that I was going to be getting up there too late, and it would start getting dark, and so I needed to keep moving quickly. And so I hike up this place. I take some pictures. I set the camera down, the whole bag with everything in it. Put the cameras back in after shooting, and I start to collapse the tripod. And I normally always wrap my camera bag around my leg, mostly like in areas where you could get stuff stolen from. Hey. Thank you so much, PSY Links, Links. Thank you. Thank you so much. That really means a lot. I appreciate that. So I normally would always take the camera bag and wrap it around my leg, right? But I didn't do that for some reason. I just started collapsing this tripod. And all of a sudden I see my camera bag with, at the time, was probably almost $15,000 worth of stuff, which was my entire life savings, basically. I had, yeah. No, it probably wasn't that much. It was probably like $6 grand worth of stuff. It's still way too much stuff to watch tumble down a mountain towards a cliff. And oh my gosh, I watched it just tumble, and I'm going, no, screaming at the top of my lungs. I guarantee all the people down in the castle heard just this blood-curdling scream. Probably thought someone was falling off the cliff and dying. And of course I can respond to this comment, HJ, but I'm in the middle of a story. And so what happened is it hit, like, there's switchbacks kind of going up this mountain before the cliff. It hit one of the last switchbacks and landed flat on the very last one, literally 5 feet from a 1,000-foot long, tall cliff. And all that broke was my cheapest lens at the time. Everything else got paid for, or it was perfectly fine, including my laptop, which tumbled that far down, and the backup hard drive. Everything else was perfectly fine except for my cheapest 50mm lens. That's my story about Neuschwanstein, so there we go. Yeah. There we go. I was very fortunate. That could have been a lot worse, so. It was a good ending. It felt like a movie, and I will never forget that. Falcon Heavy and Star Wars, can't wait. The rocket's all done. We're finishing up. I'm probably gonna head and get making some din-dins. That is very much so why SSDs are better than hard drives. But this is back in the day of spinning hard drives, and everything ended up being fine, believe it or not. Yeah. Oh yeah, Havoc. I still haven't looked up Havoc, but I know exactly what you're talking about. The fact that we can basically send like steel blimps to Venus because its atmosphere is so thick that you know, we can float space stations on the atmosphere, which is very, very, very cool. So I'm really excited for that. But guys, I'm gonna go ahead and head out. I might be able to have some time to do some Kerbal this week again. But we got a script to write in our Discord channel. So again, if you want to help script, I think I'm debating actually. I wanted to do. I have two things that are on my immediate to-do list. Actually, 3 things to do in my immediate to-do list. One of them is with my friend Marcus House. Really wants to work on a video together, which I want to do with him. But we also, so I might do that. We're talking about like how landing on the drone ship works. The other 2 videos that I'm working on would be NASA versus SpaceX and talk about the difference between the administrations and the private company sectors. That'll be a very thick one. That'll take a lot of time to script and write. So if you want to help research, if you know a lot about that stuff, and if you want to help support, patreon.com/everydayastronaut, you can help script that video along with us. It's going to be thick and it's going to be scary, and I'm really nervous because that's a topic that has a lot of pedantism that people will be very pedantic about. Like, oh, you said administration when really it's a governing body. I don't know, something weird. And the other video that I might finish up SpaceX A Beginner's Guide to SpaceX Part 2. I have Part 1 up, and it picked up a lot of steam recently. And I need to finish that series. There's probably going to be a 3-part series. So if you want to help with that, guys, come find us, patreon.com/everydayastronaut, and you'll find the link there, the tier to be a Discord member. So yeah, thank you guys for everything. It's been fun. I'm glad that I got this done. It's been haunting me for way too long, and there it is now, looking just gorgeous. So that's gonna do it for me, guys. Thank you everybody else, and thanks to those new people that subbed. Check out my produced videos. Wait, one more real quick. I want one more opinion from you guys. I would love... Do you guys think I should repost that Myanmar astronaut video? Is it weird to repost a video? It only has 1,000 views on it, probably, and it's from... I posted it like in December when I had 400 followers. Do you guys think I should repost it? Is that weird in the YouTube world to like repost an old video? I'm still very, very... I think it's a good video. I'm very proud of it. Or is that weird to do that? So, repost it. Awesome. Hey, thanks, Silinx. That means a lot. Thank you. Okay, sounds like... yeah, check it out. Let me know. Comment on that video if you guys want. And if you say you need to repost this, then I'll do that. I think it's probably worth doing because it's still an inspirational video. So it's called Myanmar Astronaut. It's probably one of my first ones on there. Myanmar Astronaut. I have linked to it a few times. I probably should repost. Okay, cool. I'll do that. I'll probably do it sometime this week then. So thanks for that opinion, and thank you guys for joining me. Thanks for hanging out, asking good questions. Thank you for your support, the emotional support on the Falcon or on the Saturn V, and also again thanks to Silinx for the super chat. That's awesome, and for becoming a Patreon member. Thank you. Agreed, John. This would be the first time I would repost something. So yeah, I just have a feeling there's a lot of people that haven't seen it that I think would probably think it's pretty cool. So yeah. So all right, guys. Thank you so much. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. That's going to do it for me. I'm Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut, bringing space down to Earth for everyday people. It did this yesterday. I don't know what happened. It's just showing my crotch, basically, with a kite when I do that. So stupid. Oh, there's the wrong screen. Cool. Smoothest outro ever. Let's try it again. Bye, guys. I'm just going to do this.
3, 2, 1, 0, and liftoff.